Good morning, this is Derek Fournier with Plainside Strategy Group, and we're going to talk about big goals. Now, I read in a book, and I can't remember the author's name, I'll make sure I post it in the blog post, who wrote it as big audacious goals, actually. And if you'll notice in the text around this blog post, we're talking about the Race to 10, which was a big audacious goal set by Raheem Morris, the head coach of my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I go into some of the details in the blog post about why that was important, but really in the video blog portion of this, I want to convey a couple of things about the passion around this sort of an approach. As a leader, you are faced with decisions every day, right? And you've got to lead teams every day. But one of the things that leaders have to do is to be able to set the pace. Now, a lot of times we hear a lot of lip service paid to mission, vision, tactics, goals. We even use the same words, but not a lot of thought is put into what we're going to do to actually make them happen and what's going to be done to actually make them something that resonates with not only our internal staff, but also maybe our vendors and our potential customers or partners down the road. Now, that's why this Race to 10 was so important and why I wanted to make sure I highlighted it here, because we'll spend a lot of time making things measurable and attainable and time-bound and all sorts of other cool business speak words. But when you look at what Raheem Morris and the front office of the Bucs did with the Race to 10 was they set a very clear mantra. It's a race to 10 wins. This thing served them very well. Not only did the underlying message of getting 10 wins convey urgency, it conveyed the importance of that milestone, it gave them a bogey. It was a huge goal considering they only had 3 wins the year before. They're the youngest team in the league. No one gave them any chance to do it. But it also allowed them a chance to point out that it was in fact a competition, and competition brings out the best in people when done in a constructive format, right? So despite the fact that the Buccaneers actually got to 10 wins, and I was in attendance in New Orleans when they got the 10th win, that didn't get them in the playoffs. That number 10, and Raheem Morris borrowed it from Mike Tomlin before him, was supposed to be sufficient to let you control your own destiny, but only if you got there first, hence the word race. The race to 10. Few small words conveyed an incredibly important meaning, allowed him to galvanize his own internal troops, i.e. the team, and then allowed him to go out into the public eye and let people know exactly what he's trying to do. Now, the tactics that he used, and we're going to do a couple of different segments on this particular concept because I think it's very important. I think it's far more important than people give it credit for. When we talk about mission and vision and then tactics, the tactics that he used were very simple, and you'll see them in the text that associates with this video blog as well. It was play fast, play hard, play smart, and play consistent. Those are very basic concepts, and you've heard me talk before about basic blocking and tackling. That is the essence of basic blocking and tackling. They weren't long, lengthy, complicated genuflections, right? These were very crisp, clear, basic tenets that people would operate under. And by setting forth simple operating instructions that people need to follow, we can then expound off of those. And in a larger organization, you can have different people delegate to those people and segregate the work. In a smaller organization, you can roll all that up into one person. But when you're setting your goals, think about this and think about it as we go through the rest of the series. Don't be afraid to take those big shots, right? Don't be afraid to say you're going to do amazing things, but make sure you've got a plan in place that you can get people behind. So that's the moral of this first section is don't be afraid to set the big audacious goals and make sure you have some really clear basic blocking and tackling that when performed properly will get you to those big audacious goals, because you can build all sorts of tactics around that and strategy around that, but you've got to have the basics in place. Thanks for tuning into this segment.